in its own democratic institutions.
There are testing times ahead. Political rifts need healing and a balance struck between healthy political reform and corrosive instability. And the rest of the world will be watching closely. Bridget Kendall, BBC News.
Well, Scots are truly an international people. Over the decades, millions have emigrated overseas to countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and of course the United States. Everyone in those countries with Scottish ancestry watching very closely this referendum, of course. So let's take you to America. We can talk now to Alan Bain, who is chairman of the American Scottish Foundation. Alan, thanks so much for joining us here on GMT. What's your reaction to today's result?
Well, I'm very relieved that it's over, that a decision has been made. From our perspective in the American Scottish Foundation, it really was irrelevant in terms of our view of our role with Scotland. The foundation was set up in 1956 effectively to be a bridge between Scotland and America and vice versa. And that's what we are. We're very active both in Scotland. We have a team in Scotland. We have a team here. And that team is, I think, more essential probably now, because even though it's not independent, it's going to have more devolved powers, which is going to bring, I think, more responsibilities. And that's where we as an organization relating to the diaspora in this country can be, I think, very useful for Scotland.
So, Alan, are you truthfully telling me that you didn't have a view on this one, that if you had a vote, you wouldn't have cast it, you wouldn't have gone yes or no?
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that, because as I thought about it, I have very mixed feelings, very mixed feelings. I have a business interest in Scotland, so that was one thing I was looking at. How would that be impacted? I don't live there, so I'm not going to have that element of concern to worry about. But I suppose, given my age, I probably would have voted no, to remain, simply because I don't have that much time left, and it's going to be take some time to, as we've been saying, to get this sorted out, what the future is going to look like.
But Alan, have you and your members been following the referendum closely? Were you up all night watching the results come in?
As a matter of fact, I wasn't quite up all night. I was awake most of the early part of the night. I got up at 4 to get out some press releases as to our position. So it's been, yes, it has been a long, arduous, I would say about 10 days. I mean, one of the things that is fascinating to me, this has done so much for Scotland in terms of putting it on an international stage. Clearly there was incredible interest. We got flooded with requests for interviews, not from just the normal channels, but one from Taiwan just yesterday. I found it, you know, very interesting, the diversity of interest in Scotland.
Alan Bain, thank you very much for joining us. Alan Bain there, just reflecting the view of some of the American Scots who have been watching this referendum closely and following the result, of course. Stephen, we'll have plenty more throughout the day here on BBC World News as reaction continues to come in. It really does feel like history has been made here in Scotland. Lots of people have gone to bed now. There were parties throughout the night here in Scotland. People did stay up to watch the result come in, but we are still waiting for further details on what will happen next, that timetable for further devolution of powers to Holyrood behind me, and we'll have all the details throughout the day from Edinburgh.
Great stuff, Lucy. Thank you very much. And if you can't wait for Lucy's next contribution as she keeps following the Edinburgh story, there is much more on the Scottish referendum on our website. So you can go there, you'll find a detailed breakdown of the results, analysis, including what the outcome means, not just for the future of Scotland, but for the UK as a whole. That's all at bbc.com/news.